This is part 28 of our Oracle of Ages 100% walkthrough, and surprise, surprise, we are still on Rolling Ridge.
I'm already sick and tired of talking about that. Last 20 minutes after the Crown Dungeon, that was enough for me right there.
And we're not done with it yet. We got two more parts before the next dungeon, but in this part, we're going to get 200 rupees from the nice old man. We're going to trade the Rock Brisket we got in the last part for the Goron Vase. We're going to trade the Goron Vase for some Goronade. We're going to get another 100 rupees, and we're finally going to give the Goronade to a worn-out Goron at the end of the part. So we got a lot of Goron items going on here.
And that's really one of the few things I like about Rolling Ridge is that's Gorons in this area. They're kind of, I would say they're probably my favorite species in like they're not in every Zelda game, but when they're in Zelda games, they're usually my favorite. They're my favorite species over the entire franchise. It's kind of what I'm getting at right here. So at least they're here. But like other than that, this area, we kind of already talked about it. But one thing I do want to say is I think there are actually old men that also take rupees in this game. So you kind of like, I mean, it's just one of those things if you're just kind of playing like, you know, and not watching a walkthrough or know where you're going, you can hit one of those old men that I believe will take rupees from you.
Probably not as annoying as running into Maple and losing all your stuff, but that's...
There's another thing that's annoying with Maple, and it's getting that heart piece that I could just not pull off at the very end, but that's... we'll say that towards the very end of the game, I think.
We will.
Or complain about it a lot more like through Rolling Ridge because we have nothing else to talk about.
Now, this part of the trading sequence, again, we've mentioned how little some of these parts make sense, but we traded the Rock Brisket to the guy for a Goron Vase that he says has been in his family for generations. I'm like, you're trading like a family heirloom for one meal? I'm like, you better really be starving to death, or that you just got ripped off on that trade.
Well, he just said like that one Goron did, like say he hadn't eaten in forever. So I mean, when you get that hungry, you know, you just want food no matter what. So
that is true.
Maybe it's one of those things where if you're about ready to starve and you're about ready to die, like I'm giving off a family heirloom. Like I'm not even second guessing it. I'm like, hey, just give me food. I want to live in this awesome dance hall right here. Where you know what? I'd rather just die. If I'm staying in the dance hall, which is Goron's dancing, and my job is to guard the door, just let me go. Just let me go.
Exactly. And then this next part of the trading sequence, like this. Oh no, we haven't got there yet. But like when we eventually trade the Goron Vase. Actually, this isn't. Never mind. I'm sorry. I paid so little attention to what's going on.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
But he talks about that this is like guarding this door has given him life meaning, and he needs an heirloom that will teach his kids that. So it's like apparently this Goron Vase teaches his kids the value of life. Like I don't understand this guy at all.
Well, I can understand like how heirlooms teach you something about the value of life. Like, hey, your grandpa had this. Your great grandpa had this. Your grandpa had this, and then I had it. But usually it's not something like a vase. It's something like I don't know. I don't really have any examples. Maybe
I don't have any. So.
I guess a gun's not a good one, but I know of many situations where a gun has been an item like that.
Yeah, that's true.
But just like you don't usually think of a vase being handed down, really. So I'm kind of with you, like the whole heirloom and stuff. Just with the Gorons, like I mean, these guys eat rock. Like, can we not come up with something cooler for like an heirloom than like a vase?
Well, that's the whole thing about, you know, I was wishing these Gorons were much cooler. Like you said, they're one of the better species in the entire franchise. Usually they're warriors, you know. We always hear about Darunia and was it whichever one from Twilight Princess that turns into Fyrus. You know, it's like we always hear about these great warriors, and I feel like we don't get that in this game at all. We get dancers and we get, you know, starving guardians. So
well, you know, that's kind of a good change. You know, yeah, I understand what you're saying right there, but at the same time, it's a really nice change of pace, and I feel like the 2D games kind of do that a little bit. And like really, if you think about it, Oracle of Ages, like it kind of seemed like maybe a little bit of a parallel universe, even though it really wasn't. I think Link left Hyrule and like ended up in these lands, but they kind of played off as like, you know, really like Majora's Mask, where a lot of things are opposite than what we know like in Hyrule. So that's kind of the way I've always looked at the Oracle games, that they're a little bit in reverse from the regular Zelda games.
That is a good way to look at it. Like I said, when you go to Majora's Mask, so many of the characters had different characteristics or different, you know, traits or whatever. And in this game, like you said, we did leave Hyrule to go to, I forgot the name of the land that we came to.
Liberina or something. I just called it El City because I couldn't pronounce the name, so I just should have stuck with that.
El City, I remember that. But yeah, so it's like it does create like a little different dynamic with the other races and species. So I guess you're right. That is a good point. I didn't really think about it that way.
You know, I honestly came up with that out of the middle of nowhere. Like when you kind of start talking about, like I never actually thought about that until the moment, which I guess is a good thing actually. At the moment of Rise, I thought about it, but really, Red, where do you want to go? I really
I don't know.
I really
We
have
got 3
nothing
more
to talk
minutes in
about.
this
So we're
part
back to
get
Goron
through.
dancing and wasting all our time with Goron dancing.
Well, was this us trying for the platinum level? I mean, it doesn't matter because we didn't beat gold earlier, but I think in this time we tried for the platinum one, and we obviously
you
failed
kind of see, like,
miserably.
I think what I did was I tried it first a little bit, and then when I was like, okay, there's no way this is going to happen, I just went and tried
Yeah.
to fail as like quickly as I could because I'm not going to sit there and
Exactly.
like try to fail or try to pass all but one level, then end up failing the game. Like if I'm going to fail, like in real life, if I'm going to fail, I'm going to do it very quickly. Like, I'm not going to sit there and waste my time trying if I know I'm not going to succeed.
If I'm going to fail, I want to fail spectacularly and in a beautiful fashion. So I'm kind of with you on that.
And I want to have a couple beers in my hand while I do fail.
Yeah, so I can hand it to my friends and say, "Hey, watch this," while I fail. So,
lift myself up a little bit, kind of like a reward.
man, this
Some
is when you know we're
Goronade.
struggling. But it's just, yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to talk about.
I
in this
don't
part.
either. I mean, I'm sitting here, as you're talking, like I'm trying to think of my next point and everything. I'm just like, man, like I really just have nothing. Like we really don't struggle with that too much where we like don't have something we can't talk about or some way
Yeah.
to like relate to another game. But it's just like it reiterates the fact that really we just spent too much time here, 2 straight dungeons, and along
Yeah.
with the Goron games being overload, this whole area was just overload. And like I kind of said before, one thing that really bothers me, okay, first of all, jump between the past and the present here.
Yeah.
But also how it's like so contained, you can only go in this area, like, and then you were like kind of stuck, and then you can go in this area and you're kind of stuck. Now, we get that a lot with mountains, but just, I don't know, this game, it just seemed a lot worse.
It was, and especially it's in 2D games in general, just because I feel like in the 2D games, there's just less to talk about the areas. They're not as distinguished. There's not as many landmarks or different features. The 3D games, I feel like, give you so much more to talk about. In these 2D games, it's flat, duh, it's 2D.
Yeah, uh-huh.
But the areas are just bland. They're not always bland, but very similar,
Well, I think
There's less
our
features.
I think our problem is we've been here for so long, we've kind of forgotten about the outside area
I
and
know.
what's going. It's like lost in a way, like we're there on that island and kind of forget what's all going on in the real world. Like it's kind of the same thing. Like we've been here for so long, it's kind of like you couldn't remember Symmetry City earlier. Like we were there
Exactly.
not too long ago, but you kind of forget about things and what's going on outside of Rolling Ridge. It's a
Yep.
trap. It's literally like a trap to just be here forever.
I will give this Goron credit. The game he comes up with, I think, is a lot of fun. But I really had to laugh because when we give him that Goron, I almost said Gatorade, Goronade, he pops right back up again and is ready to go. So I got to tell you, man, I think he snuck some performance-enhancing drugs into that Goronade.
Well, once again, like they eat rocks, so Goronade, like in lava, they drink lava juice. Like Goronade had to have something powerful in it. Maybe
Oh, yeah.
PEDs, I don't know. But anyways, this will go ahead and wrap up part 28 of our 100% walkthrough for Oracle of Ages.